You know that feeling when you're stuck on a problem and you start scribbling different ideas in the margins, and then suddenly, bam, the solution just clicks? What if an AI could learn to do that exact same thing? Well, let's dive in because it looks like researchers have just taught a language model a totally new and much more human way to think. So here's the thing. Most AI today, it's got a bit of a one-track mind. It kind of picks one path and just goes. It follows that single line of thought all the way to the end. And you can probably guess the problem, right? If that very first step is a little off, it's completely stuck. It gets locked into a bad or sometimes just a flat-out wrong answer. And that whole sequential process, it's a huge bottleneck when you're trying to solve really complex stuff. So the solution to this one-track mind problem is something called, well, parallel thinking. And yeah, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's the ability to explore a bunch of different lines of reasoning all at the same time. Think about how you brainstorm different ways to solve a puzzle before you actually commit to one single answer. That's what we're talking about here. And you can really see the difference here. On one side, you've got that old, rigid step-by-step process, that straight line. But on the other, you've got this new approach. Instead of just one path, the AI can branch out, it can explore all these different avenues, and then, and this is the cool part, it merges the best insights back together. It's just so much more flexible, so much more robust. Okay, but there's a catch, a big one. You can't just tell an AI to start thinking like this. It's a completely new skill. It's not like anything it's ever seen in its training data. The researchers have a name for this. They call it the cold start problem. I mean, how do you teach a behavior that the model has literally never, ever seen before? And this is where a brand new framework called Parallel-R1 comes into the picture. It's basically a really clever recipe that was designed for one specific purpose: to solve that cold start problem and teach an AI how to think in parallel, right from scratch. So how they do it? They came up with this really elegant two-step process. First, they gave the AI a bunch of easy math problems. The goal here wasn't really about getting the answer right. It was about teaching the AI the basic format of parallel thinking. You can think of it like learning the rules of grammar. Then, once it had the grammar down, they moved on to harder problems using reinforcement learning. This is where the AI got to actually practice and master the skill, kind of like moving from grammar lessons to learning the art of creative writing. Now, this is where things get really, really interesting, because once the AI started to learn, something fascinating and totally unexpected started to happen. The way it used this new skill, its whole strategy, it actually began to change and evolve as it got smarter. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The researchers themselves put it perfectly in their report. They said the AI's behavior shifted from early-stage computational exploration to late-stage multi-perspective verification. Okay, that sounds a little academic, so let's break down what that really means. All right, here's the key takeaway. Early on, when the AI was still kind of learning the ropes, it used all those parallel paths to brainstorm. It was like it was exploring, throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall, just hoping one of the paths would lead to the right answer. But as it got smarter, it got more confident. It would find a solution down a single path, and then it would use parallel thinking at the very end, almost like double-checking its work from a few different angles. It literally went from being a creative explorer to a super careful verifier. But wait, that wasn't the only surprise. Not by a long shot. The research actually uncovered an even deeper benefit to this whole process. Think of it like a secret bonus that made the AI better. Not just at this one skill, but overall. What they found was that the process of learning to think in parallel was in itself a super powerful training tool. It wasn't just about what the AI could do at the end. The journey to get there was actually just as important, if not more so. Here's a great way to think about it. It's like using temporary scaffolding to build a skyscraper. The process of forcing the AI to explore all those different paths, it pushed it to discover better, more robust ways to solve problems in general. And here's the wild part. Even after the AI started using that explicit parallel thinking less and less, the underlying reasoning skills it built, they stuck around. That scaffolding helped it build a stronger core, unlocking a way higher performance ceiling. Okay, so this all sounds fantastic in theory, right? But here's the real question. Did it actually work? Did it make the AI smarter? Let's look at the numbers and see how this new thinking style held up under pressure. Oh yeah, it absolutely did. On one particularly tough math benchmark, this training method resulted in a staggering, get this, 42.9% performance improvement over the original model. That is not just a little tweak, folks. That is a massive, massive leap forward. And the results are even clearer when you look at them side by side. I mean, you can see the baseline model is really struggling down there. A more standard training approach does a lot better, for sure. But the model trained with this new Parallel-R1 framework, it's the clear winner. It's sitting right at the top with the highest average score. No contest. And look, this is about so much more than just making AI better at math problems. This is about fundamentally changing how an AI reasons. And that leaves us with a pretty mind-bending question, right? If AIs can now learn to think sideways, to explore all these different paths at once, what's the next human skill they're going to master?